Before we play The Falling Frank, please consider subscribing or following us via the links below. Drop a like and share if you enjoy, and leave a comment with your thoughts on the games. We hope you enjoy the pod.
Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap, 'cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think, 'cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his
The Wigan Way podcast is brought to you by Cherry and White Pins, a local Wigan Warriors themed pin badge company with a variety of Wigan ranges. You can get free shipping on all orders when you use the code The Wigan Way, that's The Wigan Way, all in capitals, at checkout. Thanks to them for supporting the show.
Thank you for joining us again this week on the Wigan Way. I'm joined by you, Lewis. Matty's away. He's on his little holiday before the Warrington game. But we've got to talk about it. You've been on holiday again. You're going to give us a little review of wherever you were off this week.
I have. So it was we did a week in Northumberland. Very good. We stayed at a place called Sea Houses. Well, near Sea Houses. It was actually Newton by the Sea, but the closest village is Sea Houses to it. So it's near like Bamber and like places like that. Very good. We've been there before a couple of times, but we just went the missus and the dog. It was great. We had the lovely beach near our accommodation that we had to ourselves, so there was plenty of letting the dog have a run around and splash in the sea and stuff like that. But Barmouth, Sea Houses, really nice towns to visit. Went to Dunstanburgh Castle as well, so did a couple of nice days out. Very good.
Very good. Lovely. So you went immediately, pretty much the day after the game, didn't you?
Yes, it was Friday night we played, wasn't it? And then we went the Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. Good win. I know my opinion on this, obviously, but winning at this point of the season is just a win. You've got to get 2 points. Nothing's won here, but you can lose momentum.
Well, it was more that we were lacking momentum, weren't we, before this game? And I think we kind of just said, look, we're not even bothered if we weren't in good form. So I don't think, we didn't really have any superstars returning from injury like Bevan French, for example. Thompson still missing. So I think it was a case of we don't really care how we win. If we have to win ugly, we'll win ugly. Just get the win. I think I talked about this the previous week, but just get the win. Use the break. Now we have, not the break, the week off we have, if you like, as a reset. As we're recording this, the team has been announced for the Warrington game. It's got Bevan French in it, for example.
Well, should we talk about that now? Obviously, this position that we were in before the Catalan game was missing quite a few of our superstars, you could say. Yeah. And obviously, every other team in Super League can just carry on playing without the superstars. It's only Wigan that lose when key men are missing. For example, the Catalan game, let's just list off who was missing. Field, French, Miskey, Thompson, Sam Walters.
Albert Thompson, of those you've just named, are in this.
Miskey's not in the squad.
Oh, sorry, not Miskey as well, sorry. But Field's back, French is back, Walters is, well, not back, but they've been announced in the 20, whatever, 21 into 21.
And I would suspect that one of them, Field will play, and I suspect one of French or Walters will play. I don't think he'll throw them both in immediately with Hull KR the week after, depending on what he thinks is more important. Yeah. But like I said, this game, we're obviously missing quite a few players, and it is going to have an effect on it. It was a 28-18 win. It wasn't the greatest, but what I really liked more than anything was that we saw Kieran, Wardle and Marshall.
Yes.
3-4-5.
When we knew Jack Faz was back, that was a very big lift for us, I think. And I don't mean any disrespect to Jack with this. I do think Jack's a tremendous young player. It was more the fact that Kieran could move back to centre that I quite liked about Jack Faz coming in, because then that to me is a much stronger back line. Eckersley at full back, I don't mind when you've got Wardle,
yes,
Marshall and Kieran all in the, the back line.
If if Farrimond wasn't fit before this game, Kieran was going to have to play in the halves.
Yeah.
Or maybe Cruz Lehman, who's not played there all season pretty much. So then you're going to end up with Eckersley at fullback. Who was going to play centre? Who was going to play wing?
The other thing then, people were saying, would Eckersley go to centre and they bring in Noah Hodkinson at fullback? There was a lot of speculation around what's going to happen. It was glad to see Jack Faz was back and Kieran could go out to centre.
Yes.
I think the back line looks so much stronger with those three in it.
Yes.
Marshall, Wardle and Kieran, so
Exactly.
happy with that.
But the game itself, it wasn't our greatest performance. I think we've already said that. It is a case of getting 2 points and getting stuck into this game. We had tries from Brad O'Neill, Wardle, Eckersley, Cruz and Jack Farrimond. Harry Smith kicked 4 from 5. Was you surprised to see Smith kicking? I think this is the second game in a row that we've seen Smith kicking.
Yeah, a couple of people have sat around me in the stadium were saying, why is Smith kicking? The only thing I can think is Kieran must be carrying a knock. He's kicking, he's left-footed and his right knee and leg looks heavily bandaged. Maybe planting his foot when he's kicking, maybe that's causing him a bit of aggro or something. I can understand why he's giving it to Smith whilst he recovers. I'm guessing he must be carrying a knock, and with his right leg heavily bandaged, I'm putting 2 and 2 together saying that might be causing him some problems, but we don't know.
But he's a very, very good backup to have as a kicker. He's England's goal kicker of choice.
Not if you ask most Wigan fans out there, he's not.
Kicked 4 from 5 and missed one on the sideline from Jake Wardle's diving effort in the corner. A centimetre off the sideline, and he should just knock it over backwards.
Oh, according to people, yeah. But anyway, I'm digressing here.
So, going into the game, it was Jake Wardle that opened the scoring just in the first 10 minutes, 7-8 minutes into the game. That play that we talk about of playing to the left, Smith found Eckersley, who was obviously at full back. Bit of a cut-out pass, not well executed, but sits up nicely for Liam Marshall. He gets a nice offload to the overlapping Jake Wardle. Really good of him to stay alive there and know that Marsh is going to have to come inside and give him that option, really.
Yeah, it's like we said a bit before about, winning ugly. It's a lovely load and finish. Offload by Marshall, finish by Wardle. Obviously, the last pass to get to Marshall was a bit scruffy, and it's one of those where you probably shouldn't score off it because it's not going to. You wanted to. It's a pass along the floor, but like you said, he stays alive, he makes it happen, and he gets a try on effort, and that's what we mean by winning ugly, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk about our next try. 15 minutes in, Farrimond scores, and he scores off a brilliant piece of excellent play, and I'll talk about that in 1 second. But my criticism of Harry Smith, and he's been unfortunate in the fact that he's probably had 3, maybe 4 partners in the halves that you could talk about. He partnered French, and then he's partnered Farrimond, back to Kieran. Lehman's done spells in there, and then and back to Jack Farrimond. So he's had different partnerships.
I thought this game, to be fair, just Don Smith was actually one of his best ones for a good couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I thought he ran things a bit. Obviously, defensively, he doesn't get. We've said it before. He doesn't get the credit he deserves as a defender. He's a very good defender for a half-back. He's not the biggest on the park. But I thought this game was one of his better games in recent weeks.
The point I wanted to make about that was, I actually think he almost took a step back. Dominated the control of the game, but didn't overplay his hand. He's not a Bevan French who's going to throw massive dummies, left foot, right foot, beat 8 players and score. His ability comes off the repetition of drop off, and then I'm going to get my head through and make a break. He kicked really well. He put pressure on the full-back with his kicking game. He kicked the ball into touch when he needed to. Got us a rest. He did all the little simple things like that. And what I mean by bringing it back to them simple points, in the first 15 minutes he hit Farrell on that short ball that Liam Farrell's been known for. I think maybe 8 or 9 times. And then 15 minutes in, he takes it to the line and shows that he's going to play short again. And just steps through the gap.
Shows and goals.
He just reads the defender. And at that point then, he doesn't quite get around the fullback. He tries to round him, doesn't get round him. but he's tackled on the left-hand side, and Wigan read it really, really well. They realise that you make a break on the left-hand side, the danger's to the right. Marshall to Farrell. Farrell gets it out to Jack Faz. And as you look at the setup of this situation that Farrell finds himself in, he's got Nasemba running a short ball line. He's got Kieran, who's 10, 15 yards wide of him, really giving him space. And Douglas on the outside on the wing, really hugging his wing against 3 Catalan defenders. So much room there for him. And he takes it to the line, he plays it, I'm going to put a pound in the jar, he plays eyes up footy.
I was just about to ask you, what does he do?
But he realises that the defence is tight, a little bit of a grubber in behind, and that's what Farriman can do. But he allowed Farriman, and this is where we talk about that partnership of the halves, Smith actually allowed Farriman and he allowed Eckersley at full-back to just play the natural game and not worry about that controlling, not worry about overplaying the hand too much, because Smith dominated it. Takes it to 10-0, and then we go into a bit of a lull of set for set competitiveness, and it's 2-3 minutes from the end. Mago ball playing.
He did it a lot this game. I think, if I remember rightly, when he came on from the bench, he actually come on for Ellis as a 13 rather than a prop. And he was going in at first receipt, almost doing an O'Loughlin type role for us back in the day.
Yeah.
Not on earth comparing him, by the way, before someone jumps down me through a lot and says, did you just seriously say that? I'm just saying the role is similar. First receiver, out the back, first receiver playing short, and he just kind of, he was a ball playing 13 for a bit.
And I think the subtlety, and this is what Cade Ellis does really, really well, and Mago's done it again, is that by just coming that one off the ruck, it just slides everyone to your next defender. You're one further over, you're running at shoulders rather than running at the inside of men. And all of a sudden, again, if you look at the shape from where Smith catches the ball, you've got Nasemba, Farriman, Kieran and Douglas running at 3 Catalans defenders. It's game over.
Yeah.
It's game over. They hit Nasemba on a short ball. Cesar Rouge can't deal with him. Just can't deal with him at all. He gets through the tackle, offloads to Eckersley. 2-on-1 with Lehman backing up on the inside. But suddenly, as soon as you find that you've got 1, even 2 men as we had here, it's game over. You execute well, you score. And we score under the sticks. Harry Smith kicks it and it's 16-0.
Lehman deserves some credit though. He always does this, what all good nines do, backing up through the middle. Always stays alive, always energetic, Lehman, so he deserved that. He's doing what all good nines should do, backing up through the middle.
16-0 at half time. You start to think, actually, comfort zone, keep going. But I was glad with that nil. I thought we defended pretty well in the first half. Our defensive intensity seemed to be up. I thought Brad O'Neill had a really good game at 9 defending.
He did.
Along with quite a few. We'll talk about the defensive stats and contributions at the end of the review. But it was really important to have that nil. Now, I know we end up conceding a couple of tries and that side of the game. In the second half, we probably switched off a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could have any complaints, really, at 16-0.
Look, you're not probably going to go from playing bad for 3 weeks into an 80-minute performance with, again, still Keeman missing your back line, changing once again with Dougie coming in and Keeman going back out. There's been a lot of inconsistency, hasn't there? So you're probably not going to get an 80-minute performance. The second half wasn't pretty from both teams. We did concede a couple of tries. There was so many scrums from knock-ons and errors that I can remember. It was not an entertaining second half at all. But we talked about it again. We're in bad form. Just got to win ugly. Get your week off. Use it as a reset.
Yeah.
And we go on Friday.
Well, I'll say with things like that, obviously, Cesar Rouge scores. And I just think it's a defensive misread. Nasemba comes in on his man. Farriman sticks. And there's just a gap and they play it well. Other teams are allowed to attack well.
Oh, yeah.
And normally we defend them well and we stick around, but they just managed to get a try. You can't. You're not going to keep teams to 0 time and time again.
No.
But I do want to talk about a try for Wigan in the second half, and it was Eckersley's. From a scrum. 60 minutes in.
Love a good scrum play.
Oh, yeah. We haven't really thrown any threats this year from scrum players.
I think, again, with the back line being inconsistent, it's been hard to put them on.
So, I do remember getting to this time last year. Do you not remember we started lining up at the back of the scrum with 3 men?
It was, straight, wasn't it?
It was around this time.
A bit like NFL style, wasn't it? Kind of having them on a straight line.
Well, the joy of the scrum players is you can cook up whatever you want.
Especially now you get to decide where you want it.
You can cook up what you want, where you want to be. The situation, you can control that. Every defender is where you want them to be. Rather than the free-flowing game that we love. It's actually a structured play. I think we're going to see Wigan over the next 5-6 weeks just flex some muscles at scrums here. Whenever we get a scrum in a dangerous territory, I think we'll throw something at teams and just remind teams that we can score. Listen, you don't want to knock on against Wigan now then. If we put 3 or 4 scrum players on, you don't want to make a mistake in your own 30.
It's horrible defending scrums. I remember when it's just because obviously there's 6 players packed down in the scrum, the space you have to cover on your left and right hand side is obviously, so normally you're looking your mate's 5 metres, to the right, you're thinking actually if I miss or someone puts a step on, someone's there to cover me, whereas when you're looking there's not someone 10 metres either side of you, you're thinking to yourself, if this person's just a bit quick for it run around me outside, or if I get caught on my toes and he puts a step on, like there's so much space, it's a horrible, especially when you got players like Jay Field, Bevan French, when we get them back coming out of him, it's so deadly.
But we talk about it with it was something I'd never seen before. A team like 3 men behind the scrum. But do you know what was so brilliant about that? How wide Marshall and Miskey were, hugging the touchline, saying, "Go on, leave us open, and we'll beat you in the corner." Or you have to try and tackle Bevan French, Jay Field, Jake Wardle, Adam Kieran, 1-on-1. It's an impossible task, really. And we execute the scrum play really, really well. We end up scoring from Eckersley in the corner. It was exactly what you'd want to see. Shape. Eckersley gets on the outside of his man and dives in. If the winger bites in on him, he just puts Douglas in. Yeah,
he's too quick. It's like the point I just made there, when there's so much to do. I can't see what it is do. He gets caught a bit in field ball watching, but as soon as, like I say, if you're in a normal defensive line, they manage to get for you outside a bit. The bloke outside, he sometimes might be able to jump in quick and that, but when it's a scrum and there's so much space, if they just get that half step on you, there's too much ground to cover. They're gone.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
It's so hard.
The final try, Brad O'Neill, diving out from 9.
Yeah, scoop from 9, wasn't it?
Yeah, doing his job.
Deserved it though. He played, like you said, he put in some good defensive displays. This game. So probably deserved to get his name on the score sheet as well.
I'm just looking at the defensive stats of all the middles. Ethan Havard, 30 plus tackles. Brad O'Neill on the 30 mark. December at the 30 mark. Liam Farrell at the 35 mark. Cade Ellis over 30. Liam Byrne 20. Cruz Lehman 20. Tyler Dupree 20. Harvey Hill, I think that's 19. Yeah. Harry Smith 22 tackles, 5 from marker. It's an incredible amount of defensive work that actually has got us ahead of this game. Defend early, and you can put your points on.
Yeah.
When teams tire.
Yeah, I think I don't mean to keep repeating the same point over and over, but again, when you've got to win ugly, you have to do that. Just make your tackles and hope someone at some point might be able to, like Jack Faz did, get a try off a little kick or something like that. If you're attacking shapes, balls are going to ground, there's a couple of errors, second half, there's a lot of knock-ons and stuff. It's just right, we're going to have to defend these errors, be a bit gritty and determined, and hope that a couple of superstars can get us over the line at some point with a bit of individual brilliance, like whether it's a scoot out from 9 by Brad O'Neill, whether it's a little kick and chase from Jack Farrimond.
Or a well executed play.
Or well executed scrum play. That was the nicest one to see, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the nicest one to see. Lehman's was good with a support play, with a little move and a short ball to December, and the scrum play. There's 2 good tries there.
Now, we talked defensively. I do want to mention some going forward. Adam Kieran ran 90 metres. Liam Marshall ran 112. Junior Samba ran 80. Liam Byrne ran 105 metres, an incredible amount of work. Kate Ellis, along with his 30 tackles, ran 90.
A couple of people after this game on December said he looked a bit burned out. He did miss a good couple of tackles. He did put some good ones in as well.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit, I don't know, suspect of going for the shot and then missing. I know Kieran can do that as well. But when he does, it comes off. He is still young. I think we've got to remember that. You know, he is a young lad. He is playing, you know, the number 11 role. He is the starting second rower since Isa retired now. So, but it's tough, 80 minutes every week. You know.
So you got to remember, he got the starting number over Isa. He got that number 11 over Isa. Isa was moved to 14.
I think he was 14, yeah.
That tells you Willie Isa is probably going to be on the bench or 18th man, and he's probably going to start 10 to 15 games where they give December 7 off, they give Liam Farrell 8 off, go and have this week off. Sam Walters, you're playing right second row for a few weeks. This is his first full season. He only really came in last season when Isa broke his foot at Castleford.
Yeah.
Broke his ankle and leg.
Yeah.
And that put him out for basically the rest of the season. That's when December started getting big minutes, and even then we used Sam Walters at right second row to phase him in and out. He's a young lad.
Yeah, I think we've got to remember that. And I don't think many people were going after him. I think they were just saying he does look knackered.
Well, I've seen the thing.
But he's had a week off now, as are the rest of the boys.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how he does on Friday. If he puts in a performance, we might turn around and say, actually, yeah, you can see he was a different beast today. He was back to his normal self.
Well, I think that's going to be the thing, because there's a lot of talk always of England squads, and you know how it is during football. It's not really the same for rugby because we don't have that many internationals, but you go, oh, is he playing himself into an England shirt, or has he played himself out of an England shirt? And I think John Wilkin made a comment that he might have played himself out of an England shirt because he's looking tired. The lad's 21. The Aussies want him. Or will want him. And what I will say is, if you're lining up in October, and I don't know who, Liam Martin is one of the Australian second rows. He isn't going to want Junior and December lining up against him. So that tells me he has to play.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think people sometimes, because they see him, and I understand if you're good enough, you get in, age shouldn't be a factor of it, but when you actually think about, especially in the forwards, when you think about a 21-year-old going up against, you know what I mean?
I'm going to say second row is possibly the hardest place, because there are very, very few 40-minute second rows anymore. Hull KR actually have one in Tanganoa, where he comes on after 25 minutes and he's impactful. But the majority of second rows in Super League
80 minutes
are 80 minutes, and you're playing as a forward. So I look at it and I just think, if you're a young lad coming through at prop, you're probably going to play 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You might come off bench. If you're going to play at second row, you've got to play.
Yeah.
You've got to play their 80 minutes, and then you've got outside backs running at you, skipping past you with lightning pace.
Possibly got to protect your half back from the second row who's trying to run over the top of them.
Yeah, you've got to protect your inside shoulder, or the props are going to come at you. It's possible that I think it might be the most physically demanding position. Like, maybe even with centre, because centre, you've got to protect your half back, you've got men trying to beat you on the outside. That you're being asked questions all the time, and it's mentally fatiguing.
It is.
And yeah, I think he's going to be the biggest benefit of a week off. Him and Liam Farrell at second row.
Yeah, definitely.
Them two are going to be the biggest benefactors for us for this week off.
Not at the rest, have they? Ellis goes to the bench on a couple of games, you know what I mean? All the props get rotated. I think the second rowers are going to need a break, I think.
Yeah, big time.
100%, I agree with that.
Right, that wraps it up. When we come back, we'll go through the news and what's caught our eye.
So, Tom, bit of a weird one this week. We know Matty. It's been a while since it's just been me and you doing a podcast.
I know.
I know you and Matty do them because I always go away type thing, but it's been weird since it's just been me and you. So there's no him to do eye catches this week, so we'll have to throw to you for eye catches. What has been catching your eye?
Well, I'm just going to pick one.
Okay.
There's two parts to it, though.
Okay.
It is the whole situation around the Gold Coast Titans against the Penrith Panthers.
Yeah, no, I don't want to kind of steal your thunder here, but this is interesting because it's not just this game where Penrith have had questionable issues. If you explain what's happened, and we'll kind of go through the history of where it has happened before as well.
The trainer.
Yes. So go on, tell us what happened against Gold Coast specifically this time. What's happened this week?
In the Gold Coast game, Gold Coast have scored with about 5 to 10 minutes left and took the score to 16-14 out in the corner. And the kicker has obviously got a kick from touch to make it 18-14, 4-point lead.
Big kick.
Big kick. He's lined the kick up, done his routine, stood, and then the Penrith trainer, who's been talking to the team behind the sticks, has ran in front of the ball, disturbing the routine of the kicker, and gone around. And there's two elements to this.
It was Vossi on commentary, wasn't it? And he called it straight away and just went, what is he doing? And called it out straight as soon as it happened.
There's two big elements to this. Has he done it deliberately? Or has he not been thinking? Because I've never seen this before. Very, very rare. I've seen one or two times. Right?
We should point out here, that Ivan Cleary, when asked about it post-game, said it was just an honest mistake, is what he said.
That's okay.
Make of that what you will, but that's what he said. He's just gone, no, it's one of those. He wasn't thinking, just honest mistake.
But why did it happen then? This is the big point. Why did it happen with a major important kick rather than the one that was in front of the sticks or to the left of the sticks that he'd knock over with his eyes closed? Why has it happened on this really, really important one?
I don't want to steal your thunder. Can I talk about the incident that happened previously with same trainer? So this is only for those who really kind of who don't really follow the NRL, they might only follow Super League. The same trainer for Penrith got caught a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember who they were playing now. Penrith had just conceded a try, so they were about to kick back off, and the trainer has got the ball ready to hand it to Nathan Cleary to put it on the tee and commence the kick off and restart the game. And the camera has caught him with a water bottle squirting the ball. You can only assume with the idea to make it wet and slippery to make it much harder to catch from the kickoff. So that's very, very close time frame where the same trainer has been caught with two different acts of gamesmanship and or cheating. One, making the ball wet to try and get them to drop it on kickoff, which I think is blatant cheating. And then two, walking in front of the kicker as he's taking the kick.
He also...
Very strange. It's so weird.
He also had two issues a few seasons ago where he made the on-field ref stop play when Penrith are defending their own line. And it was the most notable of one of them was he attended to the Penrith Panthers hooker Mitch Kenny, who was down, injured, but he ran and got the ref to stop the game, even though he's 10 yards back from where Parramatta are, and it wasn't a head injury, so it shouldn't have been stopped. Parramatta were on the front foot, attacking the line, and he got the game stopped, which is against the rules of the game.
There's another incident, I've only just remembered it, it's coming, I think it was this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was this week, I saw it on my social media NRL 360 post. There was another incident with, I don't know if it's the same trainer, but it's definitely a Penrith trainer. The rule is they can come onto the field and Penrith are attacking and he's kind of stood, like you're saying, 10 metres behind, barking instructions. But the pundits in NL360 say the rule is that they have to be off by tackle 4. They cannot be behind on the play on tackle 4. He stays on for the entire set until they literally kick the ball and turn it over and then goes off the field. And they literally on the thing kind of highlight it and put the spotlight on him on the camera as he's doing it and say, look at him, he's still there. He's coaching them around the field, telling them what to do. And the rule is you have to be off by tackle 4.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. I forgot about that one. And there is another separate issue with Green. I think it was the 2022 final.
Is Green the trainer? Sorry.
Yeah.
Green's the trainer.
Where he actually sledged an active player in the game.
As he was on the field?
As he was on the field. So Jed Cartwright, who's now at Hull FC, was
verbally assaulted by Green over a back injury that he suffered. He was at the Panthers. He suffered a serious back injury, and actually was verbally abused by the Panthers trainer. Cody Walker got involved and had a go at the trainer, basically for having a go at a young lad who'd been injured whilst there, and Green would have worked with him to help his recovery and whatever, and he was verbally abused by him. And again, that started off a whole set of other issues.
Well, it's interesting when you look at when I've looked at this video I was just talking about before, the one where he stays in the field all set coaching, even though it's against the rules. You go into the comments section, and I'm guessing it's Penrith fans, I would assume, who are commenting just being like, oh, just because we're better than you, just trying to find stuff to take away our success and stuff like that. That argument loses validity when there is repeat incidents of it.
We've just named 5.
We've just named 5 that have all been caught on camera. Like, that argument has lost any credibility, validity. It's like, oh, you're just picking us up because you can't beat us, just because we're better than everybody else. It's like, no, because, well, explain it to me then. Why is he pouring water on the ball? Why is he staying on for the full set? Why is he walked in front of the kicker? I think NRL personally have to do something about it. They have to fine him, dock him points, take some points off the league. But they can't just keep letting it go unpunished.
He's been fined 50,000 Aussie dollars.
The club will pay him. I would assume.
I'd go as far as to take the 2 points off.
I would. I'd dock him points. I'd say, right, you're going to be minus 2 points now as your punishment because there's been repeat instances of gamesmanship.
It's gamesmanship. It's.
Oh, but in fact, I even think it's one step further. So I think it's blatant cheating. I don't think it's gamesmanship. Is walking slowly to scrums, taking your time to play a ball that drain the top. This is blatant cheating. You're pouring water on a ball. You're disrupting that is gamesmanship.
Yeah.
It's cheating, not gamesmanship. It's full blown cheating.
Yeah. You know what? I think the refs missed it here in this situation. He should have basically said, "Listen, it's a penalty on the sticks. You take your kick from the penalty."
Can he do that? Is that a rule?
Well, yeah. It's against the rules to walk.
I know. I 100% agree with you. But
that would be a penalty.
I would not be surprised if there's actually no rule against it because it's just you shouldn't have to write that down in a rule book. Trainers must not walk in front of a kicker when he's kicking a goal. That much should be obvious. It should be written down in a rule book.
Exactly.
But I would honestly dock points off them to fix this because they're going to keep doing it. There's been multiple incidences. Because what will happen if they don't is the players, a bit like Cody Walker in that situation, legend, will start taking it to their own hands. Next time the trainer walks in front of the kicker's going to run up to him and grab him by the shirt and say, "What are you doing?" And then it'll be, "Oh my God, a player's putting a hand on the trainer. What are they doing?" Well, NRL, do something about it then. If you're not going to do something about it and deal with it, the teams, the players, opposite coaches and staff will take it into their own hands and you'll see fights on the touchline eventually.
Yeah. Now, I think he's been banned for a game or 2. But he'll be back for the playoffs. So, keep an eye on what happens there. What I did want to say, though, was it then led to arguably one of the best moments of rugby understanding I've seen. They're behind by 2. It's going down. They're trying to get into good ball position to attack, and they don't quite get there. They're 25 metres out. So what does Nathan Cleary do? Drops back about 20 metres, so he's a good 2-3 yards over the 40 metre line to take a deliberate attempt at a 2-point field goal. Last tackle, all the pressure on him, and he nails a 40 metre drop goal to draw this game, send it to extra time, and then they end up winning it in extra time. And I think that's absolutely brilliant, but it has been tarnished by the incident beforehand.
100%. And I think that's if you did take the 2 points off them, it's harsh on Cleary, but I'm sorry, you've got your trainer to blame. And there's repeat incidents of it. It's not just a one-off. You can't. It's all right. I've clearly gone, no, it's an honest mistake. This time, it might have been an honest mistake, but when there's repeat incidences, I'm sorry, that's not. Your credibility's gone.
Well, the next point is a $50,000 fine. Is that worth 2 premiership points if it gets you in the top 4?
I don't know. I don't think of. I get it's a punishment, but I just don't know. I don't think.
No, but what I mean is, right, if that's got them effectively 2 extra points on the ladder. If 2 points means they finish 4th rather than 5th, and means they can lose the first game or potentially get a week off, that could set them up to win a grand final
if I'm the CEO of Penrith Panthers, I'm going, here, mate, here's 50 grand.
I think the docking points is the better punishment. I don't think money is enough deterrent.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, the club will pay its CEO, there's 50 grand, we don't care as long as we get to playoffs and get to grand final, win a grand final. I think actually just saying, you know what, another thing with this trainer, any member of staff from Penrith, you're going to be docked 2 points. We'll take the win off you, is the better way to do it, because then they'll start going, well, hold on a minute. And then the whole narrative will start, the NRL's against us, the league's against us, we're appealing, whatever, and it's just a case of, look, here's the 5 videos. You explain each one to me. There's 5 incidences there, all caught on camera, all against the rules. What's your defence? Because it's literally there in black and white on video.
Yeah, it is. Right, Lewis, I'm looking at that list. There's plenty of news. Do you want to...
Let's go through the quick ones first and just round them off.
I was going to say, signing news.
Signing news. Chris Hill to Bradford. He's jumped the ship of Salford.
Yeah.
Can't blame him. I think what's going on there. We might talk about this there, but
I was going to say, it's not even worth talking about the situation of Salford because they weren't paid on time again.
We can keep going
after, but
we can keep going week on week on week on week, but essentially it's one of I have no problem. I do not blame those players for getting out if they can get a secure wages paid on time. It is a job at the end of the day. These players have mortgages and families and kids. Go to somewhere where you know you're going to be paid every week, every month, whatever it might
I've heard a few more might be heading to Bradford from Salford, so
Don't blame them.
not confirmed yet, but keep an eye on that.
It's a shame, but we can't keep on giving sympathy for Salford at this point. It's got to be, look, these players have got to get some security in their lives. It's the job for them, you know what I mean?
Cash money, cash.
Former Wigan player Chris Hankinson to Leeds.
I think he's a clever signing.
Yeah. Can play multiple positions in the back line, good goal kicker.
They've just lost, is it Alfie Edgell? He's out for the season.
Is it healthy edge?
Yeah, so it gives him an option centre wing.
Yeah.
He definitely kicks goals for him.
He does. I actually think he was a good centre, you know. I think he's a good utility back. I don't think there's anything. I don't think he's a world-beating, world-class centre, but I think if he, you know, like we always talk about money on the cap, if he's coming in and he's on a reasonable wage and he...
If next season...
You know what I mean?
If next season he's your 4th choice centre, it's a really good 4th choice centre.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean, so it'll be a good one. Wire have been in the market again. They signed Ryan Matterson a couple of weeks ago. They've now signed a prop from Manly. Sipley is how you say it, I think.
He's 30 years old.
Played 80 games, did you say?
I think it's 89 games
89 games from...
For a 30-year-old who made his debut in 2016. So what's that, 8 years? He's averaging 10 games a season. Of professional. Like, this just doesn't feel like a good signing.
I don't want to spend too long on it. We might do this when we come to review the other games we talk about. Obviously, we've got Warrington on Friday. It's a very old Warrington move, this, isn't it? Just go into the NRL, 30-year, Thomas McHaley. It's a Thomas McHaley, like, oh, crap, we need a forward, just go grab someone from the NRL ever can get. They've signed Ryan Matterson, they've signed this guy.
They just lost Paul Vaughan to York.
Has that been announced now? Is he going to? Oh, right, okay. Probably should have put that in the news. I don't know if we talked about it the other week.
I can't remember we talked
There's
about
another
it.
signing news for you if you didn't know Paul Vaughan to York.
This is not the replacement that they need to replace Paul Vaughan, who's one of the top, in my opinion, he's one of the top 10 props in this league.
Burgess, though, well, maybe you don't know if it's Burgess, Fitzpatrick, if there's a recruitment director of rugby in there who's doing it differently. I don't know who's to blame for this. But the culture of Warrington, we commented last season on the culture changing and it going more like a top club mentality. They brought in Leon Hayes at halfback. They put some trust in the kids, Connor Wrench, for example, to go in there. And it was very much like, this is good for Warrington. Investing in the youth, they're bringing in their own kids, like Wigan, like Saints do. They're stopping this whole just going grabbing whatever they can from the NRL. And then in the last couple of weeks, let's go grab Ryan Matterson, let's go grab Sipley. It's very old Wire signs. Like I said, Thomas McHale written all over it for me. It's old Warrington, this, when we thought it would change.
It's very, very strange. And I don't get this signing.
It's a weird one.
I really don't get it. I'm not surprised. I'm really not shocked or surprised by this signing. But
I wouldn't have been 2 seasons ago. Whereas now, the whole Matterson one and this one is...
But do you actually think, just because they've signed Leon Hayes and trusted a couple of wingers and centres, within that, they still went and signed Mark Sneed. They still went and signed Roderick Tye. They still went and got...
Lockie Fitzgibbon.
Luke Yates,
who are starting players, who's actually come through? 2 wingers in Thewlis and Ashton. I think there's a lot of...
I get it. I do think, correct me if I'm wrong, all those players you've just named there were signed in like the off-season, weren't they?
Yeah.
To kind of, you knew they were coming in, you've done your research about them, but like literally now, as doing a race for the top 6, it's just like, oh, quick. Who can we get?
So Sipley's
Panic buying is
So
what
Sipley's only coming in next season.
Oh, is it next season? Sorry, Sipley.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Mattison's now, obviously,
Mattison's
he
now.
played at weekend, didn't he?
But they did that last year with John Burton.
Yeah,
Which seemed a bit like a panic
Yeah,
situation.
fair
Maybe,
point.
maybe they got weaknesses at second row. But I'm just not convinced of the direction of this club. I don't know what they're trying to do.
It is, yeah, it's strange. We'll see.
But you might as well carry on talking about Warrington because there's more news from Warrington.
Dufty. Bit of a weird one. So, there's, I don't know if it's been confirmed by the club or it was rumour or whatever, but there were reports, if you want to call them that he was being stood down for the game against us on Friday.
It's common knowledge that he's been stood down.
Can
I just throw into that?
Yeah.
There was rumours all over Twitter that he'd been sacked.
Right, okay.
Then they announced that he'd been stood down this weekend.
So I believe it was because of an internal disciplinary issue was the wording. I've seen rumours that apparently he was late for training one day, or multiple training sessions or whatever it was, which is why they've stood him down. They're trying to implement obviously standards and rules. That again, that could be or could not be correct. I have no idea. That's just what you're reading around on what someone's heard through the grapevine. But then he's been announced in the 21-man squad.
After they've said he's been stood down.
Yeah, so that's a weird one.
Clearly.
Bit of mind games.
Clearly stood down means something different in Warrington.
And then just a little bit on signing news again. It's not necessarily signing, but Lewis Dodd in the NL currently at South hasn't really kicked on from there, and he's been told he can leave. Which, given what we're going to talk about, which is probably the main piece of news coming out, could be an interesting one. But we'll save that for the end of the news. A couple of...
On Lewis Dodd.
Go on, sorry.
Can you think of a club that could really do with a Lewis Dodd?
One of the 2 new teams coming in who might need a halfback with Super League experience, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think Lewis Dodd could one of them.
Not think too good.
Wages too high. Too good.
Fair play.
I can think of 2 clubs in the top 4 that could do with him. Or top 6. Warrington, if Mark Sneed is not going to stay around. Don't know how long his contract's with there, but if you're talking Mark Sneed's 32, 33, Lewis Dodd, long kicker, game control, and a team that I think could really, really do with a
English combination with Williams.
A team that I think could really, really, really do with a Lewis Dodd. Lee.
Over Lamb. If Lamb goes, are you thinking?
I'm thinking with Lavin.
With Lamb over Gareth O'Brien. Player 1/6, the other 7. Yeah, good show. Yeah, possibly.
And Saints. Saints could do with him.
Yeah, I suppose. Could do them back. Well, you know that one ended though with Wetlands, wasn't it? And dropping him and stuff like that. But we will see. A little bit about talking about games next week. May for Hull KR has been suspended.
How can you get banned for questioning the integrity of a referee for 2 weeks? So clearly they're confident that he's done it. The Hull KR might appeal it.
And it's been quite strong if he's got a 2-game over 1-game ban. You'd say he's done something quite bad to get 2, not 1.
In a game against Salford,
Where they battered him.
we've won 70 or 12. Like, come on. And I've actually seen people online defending Tyrone May saying, oh yeah, but James Vella was rubbish. I don't care how bad you are, you can't openly question the referee's integrity.
Especially when you're winning by 60 on points.
Like,
But you're still a cheat ref. It just doesn't make sense, does it?
yeah, we should have won by 1 million. Oh my word. I don't even have words.
Right, before we get on to the big news of the week, we're probably going to spend a bit of time talking about, it was a bit of squeaky bum time. to say the least, in the NRL. Was it last week or the week before? Because Herbie made a break and then pulled up clutching his hamstring and took a voluntary tackle. And I went, oh no, with the Ashes series in mind. Well, it turns out it is only 4 to 6 weeks, so I've heard.
I'm going to say this.
Thank God he should be back for the end of the NRL season. If the Dolphins make the playoffs, he'll be back, and he should be back for the international series against Australia.
I'm going to say this.
Thank the Lord.
I'm going to say this. I got a message off our mate who goes to the rugby with on Instagram, and it was the NRL that put Herbie injury. They put a post out, Herbie's injured, and then the clip of it, and I rang you and I rang Matty immediately, and I went, that looks like a torn hamstring. I went, this could be him done.
And it doesn't on a break.
This could be him done. It looked like it. It so much reminded me of Field at Lee.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, the first one when he was playing on the wing, and he just pushes off and it goes. It just looked like that.
It is. It was a bad. Like I said, I'm just so glad it's 4 to 6 weeks.
Yes. Yeah.
God, I thought his season was over and he was out for the international fixture, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
But he's in. Thank God. Touch wood. Right, big piece of news this week. It got voted by the clubs that the Super League for the 2026 season, so next season, not even the 2027 one, would go to 14 teams. Couple of things to pick apart here. I'll take it in stages, and I'll kind of get your opinion along the way if you think that'll work. If I miss anything,
go for it.
Let me know. So the first thing is it's going to be 14 teams. 12 will be selected on who is the top 12 of the IMG ratings, with the final 2 teams being selected by an independent panel headed by Lord Kane. I think his name is something Kane.
Yes. Now, the key thing to mention with that is it isn't guaranteed that it will go to 14.
It's not been announced, it's been voted on, isn't it?
It doesn't guarantee that it will definitely be 14.
Okay.
What it states is that the 2 best clubs to come up will come into 14. But if there aren't 2 clubs that they don't deem
fit enough to be Super League, it'll just stay at 12. Okay.
Could potentially stay at 12.
That's an important thing to note, isn't it? Because it's not definitely going to be 14.
Yes.
Okay. First thing I want to ask you about, because the new, I've got in the news here that Carl Fitzpatrick was speaking about this from Warrington.
Can I give you my opinion first of all?
Go on.
I want Super League to have 14 teams.
Yeah.
I would love it to have 20 teams.
Yeah.
How we get there is the issue.
Exactly.
Yeah? Now, I've seen a lot of people saying, we're just going to bring rubbish teams in, we'll get battered every week. And I am trying to be a little bit more positive than most people on this. And I can be negative sometimes. I'm trying to be more positive than most in saying, by bringing 2 more teams in, actually, the bottom 3 who were cut off at the end of Super League will have 2 more teams that they compete against. So we might have a bottom 4 or 5 competing against each other to finish 9th rather than finish who's going to finish 11th or 12th. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So actually, I think by doing that, we might have a bit more competition.
Yeah.
I think it gets rid of loop fixtures, which I'm immediately in favour of.
Everybody's in favour.
I think I would love to know the conditions of coming to 14.
It's interesting to note about it, just on loop fixtures. When Carl Fitzpatrick from Wire was asked about this by Sky Sports, Brian Kearney, Sam Tompkins, Jodie Cunningham with the other pundits there, that was one of his big defences. So when people were saying, why now, why are you changing it, it was, we've contacted the supporters and they're not a fan of loop fixtures. The attendance to loop fixture games is low. When we've surveyed them, they're not a fan of them.
20% it goes down by.
We've spoke about it on this podcast before, us 3 of us. Matty said it many times as well, even though he's not here, has said that we hate loop fixtures. You end up playing Cas 5 times if you draw them in Cup, and they're not entertaining games, and we know that. Brian Kearney did make a point. He said we've had loop fixtures for over 20 years.
I think loop fixtures have been really highlighted this year because of where teams finished last year. So if you finish as an even number, if you finish in 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, I don't know, our brain stopped looking then, you play the other 5 teams as your loop fixture. Now, I can't remember which side of the draw it was. I think it was if you finish on the even side. You actually got Catalan, who finished on an even number, Salford, who finished on an even number, and Castleford or Huddersfield, who finished on an even number. 3 sides who are doing particularly poor this year.
Yes.
Vice versa, if you finished on an even number, on an odd number,
yeah.
like Wigan did, you got Hull FC, who finished 11th.
Yeah. Who are actually doing quite well.
Quite
this year.
well. You got whoever finished in 9th, which was, I think, has gone from me. But everyone who seems to have finished on the even side
Has got like a better draw this year's form based.
based off this year's form.
Yeah.
And I think it's the first time really that's been highlighted, especially with the weaknesses of Salford,
Yeah.
that it's highlighted actually how important that extra fixture could be. In the past, it's not had the same issue because teams have sort of stayed in the same position.
Magic counts as a loot fixture as well.
Magic's a loot fixture, yeah.
Let me ask you just a bit before I kind of move on with the proposal. What's your opinions, thoughts on the fact that 12 teams get in, if it goes to 14, 12 teams will get in by your IMG ratings, but then 2 is going to be picked by independent panel? Why is it one rule for a set of 12 and then 2 just get picked out by a committee? Kyle Fitzpatrick, once again, when spoke on this, just from the listener's point of view, said the reason why that's happening is because they've seen what's happened with Salford this year, so they don't think the IMG grading of the financial situations of clubs is possibly accurate, given the fact that Salford this year. I think that's personally a bit harsh. No one saw Salford coming, except probably Salford, who went, crap, the books haven't balanced and we're in financial trouble.
Yes.
I don't like it personally. It doesn't sit right with me. That I think if the ratings come out, you're in 13 and 14 as your club, but you don't get picked by this panel, you would be peed off.
Yeah, but you should have done more and get in top 12. It's quite clear. You've got another 3 months to figure out where you're going to be.
What do you mean by that? Sorry, you should have done more to get into the top 12.
Yeah, anyway. You should be striving to be a grade A club anyway.
100%, but I think you have the right to be hard done by if you were 13th and you didn't get picked by this panel.
But if you do 14, well, you just say the same for the 15th team. Whoever's in 15th and misses out by 0.1 would have gone, oh, well, because of our area. I don't know what the situation would be.
But in the defence of that, not just, but at least then it is the same rules. It's the top 14. You were in the top 14. Sorry.
But if you want to be in, you've got to be in the top 12.
It doesn't sit right with me that it's a set of rules for 12 and then not for that one. It leaves a bit of taste in my mouth. Sam Tompkins put this to Carl Fitzpatrick and the response he got was because the independent panel, and like you said before, the independent panel will look at them and if they say again, well, actually, there isn't a fit 2 teams to come in, they won't come in. And that's the reason why, because it's not a definite it's going to 14.
My next point, based on this, is going to depend on something else. This 14, in my opinion, should be sealed off for the next 3 years.
Okay.
No doubt. You've got 3 years to build. Don't worry if you don't win a game this season, like they did with Catalan when they first came in.
Yeah.
We don't care if you don't win a
Almost
game.
like a licensing, you're safe for 3 years.
You're safe for 3 years. Have 3 years to build, right? And then our plan isn't to get rid of you if you're not doing well. Our plan is to get more in.
Yeah.
And build. But you've got time. You can build a squad. Yeah? All this different side of it. Because I also think you've got strategic places that are needed. I think we need another French team. If Toulouse aren't in that 12, I would be happy to bring them in anyway.
Okay.
I think potentially London.
Is it going to look maybe a bit, I don't know, hypocritical on... Maybe you might say not, because they're 2 completely different clubs, even though they're both French, but wanting Catalans out, but then bringing Toulouse in.
That's 2 different issues.
I suppose.
Just be clear, that's 2 different situations of people being against expansion, blah, 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 right? Than actually what we believe. And I don't want to get into that argument because it can muddy the water a little bit.
Yeah, no, I get you.
If you want this game to expand, you have to be strategic about it.
100%.
You have to be clever about it. Look at what the NRL are doing. They have brought in a team to play in Perth because they want to expand into Perth. The next job, they brought in the Broncos. They brought in the Dolphins because they wanted to expand in Brisbane and split that up and have more dominance over that. When they brought in Melbourne, it was strategic because they wanted to reach into Victoria and start developing fans there. They didn't just go haywire and bring the next best club up, who might already play next door. they're going to reach out even further. They're going to go into New Zealand and try and get a second team in New Zealand to stabilise that. And actually, we could see the movement of Up the Wars and how big that has been. That actually, the success of that now is brilliant. They're going to look at building a PNG team and reach out into Papua New Guinea and build a team out of, is it Port Moresby in PNG? I can't
Possibly.
I think it's
Yeah,
Port
you're asking
Moresby.
the wrong person with me.
Yeah. They're being very, very, very strategic about how they're doing it. If this committee is picking 2 strategic outcomes of teams to be successful strategically, I feel like I'm staying strategically all along.
No, but I get what you mean. It's planned out. It's not rushed. It's planned out with the expansion. Where are we going? Who are we bringing up? Where are we trying to grow the game?
Where do we want to be a success?
Yeah.
If someone is going to say, listen, we're going to pump so much money into London, right? And actually, we're going to bring 2 teams up from London, 13th and 14th, and start a rivalry around London, whatever, to get people behind it. East London, West London. And someone put a strategic plan together and said, this is what we're going to do over the next 5 years. I'd say, you know what, I'm backing you. If this selection committee is doing it, and I don't want to jump to conclusions, I forgot his name at the RFL now, he's just come back in.
Nigel Wood.
Nigel Wood.
Yeah.
And Nigel Wood is going to decide that Bradford come back in because he's got a foot in Bradford, then it's wrong.
Yeah.
And this is where it comes to Chris Radlinski.
Yes.
Wigan abstained. I feel like I'm taking over your section here.
No. So just to kind of the news on it is Rads was on the Back 10 podcast, which is the All Out Rugby podcast they did. He was on it. He was very open on it and very transparent. He said, I think it's quite common knowledge now that Wigan was the only club who abstained from voting. He said the reason why. He said, we got told there'd be this meeting on Monday and a full agenda will be sent out with relevant paperwork, essentially. It's like you can review it before the meeting and the papers never turned up. So Wigan as a club said, well, hold on a minute, expansion is a massive thing, it needs to be strategically planned out like you've just said. I don't feel like I can give an opinion on whether we should or should not go to 14 teams based on the fact that I've not been able to look over any paperwork, any evidence, any of the planning, any of the strategy, so therefore we're not going to have a vote in it, which I think is fair enough.
This could 9 teams voted yes.
Yeah.
Both Hull clubs voted no and Wigan abstained.
Yeah.
Both Hull clubs have said they voted no because they're not going to paperwork.
Yeah.
Wigan chose to abstain because we might actually want to do this.
If it's done correctly.
If it's done correctly and everything adds up and the money adds up and all this stuff. Because you've got to throw into this. Sky didn't know. So clearly it's not been thought out quickly and it's not been planned and done X, Y and Z. Yeah? There is the potential that it will be 3 teams coming into Super League with Salford out.
Possibly.
Right? Next on the IMG rating is Toulouse by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Then you're bringing 2 more in. I would love York to be in there. And I think that is a...
that would make sense, wouldn't it? You know, Yorkshire, massive county for rugby league, York being the capital of Yorkshire, hence the name. For it to grow there.
It's never been somewhere that's big for rugby.
No, and I get
it
that.
It shows expansion.
But again, it's again how it's marketed, like you're saying, how there's got to be... That's something the NRL get right, isn't it? They market so well, they bring them in, they get the movements going, and they just seem to do it very, very well. With us, it's like, oh, London come up, and it's a bit like, well, fend for yourself, London. And that's what I don't like. It's very...
And that's why it's got to be planned properly.
100%.
And I don't think anyone can comment on it until we know what the plan or lack of plan is.
Well, I think that's what Radlinski was saying, hence why they abstained.
Exactly. I'm looking at the Perth situation over in the NRL. How good is this Perth situation? They're talking, can they get a release of Cam Munster so Cam Munster can come and be the marquee signing of the Perth team? If we built this right and effectively made a club out of nowhere, and set it up, and we're going to set it up and make it work, that for 2 years you put a head coach in charge. Go and try and get Jay Field out his Wigan contract. Go and try and sign Jack Wellesby from Saints, George Williams.
to be the franchise players.
The poster boy of your new club type thing, yeah.
You're going to build a club around it. We're going to pump millions into you. And I come back to it. And I think I don't want to sound like I'm begging to the NRL, because the NRL doesn't get everything right. Let's be clear on that. But they do a hell of a lot right.
They do.
And at the moment, I don't back our history and our experience of these situations to get it right.
Is it a bit strange? And I know we've been on this news segment for a good while now, so we need to roll it on. A couple of things I just want to say. First thing first, before I ask that question, IMG ratings-wise, just looking at the ratings, no, it's basically the 12 Super League clubs, and then the top 2 are Toulouse and London. Below that, to make 14, if Salford, who are in 12th, were to drop out, third best is York. So it looks like Toulouse, London and York.
To make the 12 or to make the 14?
That's 3. 2 is Toulouse and London if Salford keep in, if it was just on IMG ratings, but we know it's not, I'm talking hypotheticals here. If Salford are to drop out, the next highest on IMG ratings is York. Very closely followed by Bradford, who obviously have a very big following, a big history with
Can I just be clear? Them things though aren't accurate.
Yeah.
Because is it a 3-year rolling period?
This is the question I was going to say. I don't. But why?
Because it's based on results as well. People forget that.
Yes.
So it's run off a 3-year result thing. So if you finish top of Super League, you get X amount of points. Second, third, fourth, fifth. So you look at Bradford just missed out, for example.
Yeah.
Right? Of them 14. Bradford's result three full seasons ago might have put them 10th in the Championship. I don't know.
Yeah.
If that drops off and suddenly they finish second,
they're going to get more points.
you're going to get 8 places of more points. And whoever finished second that year will have finished somewhere else.
Is it a bit weird again that we've signed this agreement, is it 12 years or whatever, with IMG, but then it almost seems like we've kind of jumped into bed with them, but then we've got out and now we're going to do things with an independent panel and we're going to conduct our own strategic review without kind of, I don't know if IMG has been consulted on this, do you know what I mean?
It's the Pie and Peas Committee. They talked about it all, Batley, and they all went to Batley and we all sat round and we had celebrated with pie and peas. Like, come on, this should be the best sport in the world.
It's got to be better. That's what Radlinski said on this podcast. If you've not listened to it, it's 30-minute, all like rugby league, and it's a fantastic watch for 30 minutes. He speaks so, I mean, we've had Radlinski on our podcast. I've been lucky enough to interview him, myself and you, Tom, along with your dad, and he spoke so transparent and he's so passionate about the game. He spoke about Magic Weekend really well and said what he'd love to see different, and you can tell he's passionate about wanting the sport to be better, to do better, to aim, to have higher aspirations, and it's such a good watch.
This sport should be the pinnacle of sport. It's so exciting, so involved, so end to end. Fits so many different body types. You could be anything. If you're a short little guy who's not the biggest, whatever, actually you can still play this game. You can play on the wing. You can be centres. You could be a classy full back.
Could be Rob or 7.
Yeah. If you're a bigger lad who's a bit bigger, a bit stronger, whatever. The women's game's flying off. You could play nines rugby. You could play wheelchair rugby. It's so many options.
I agree.
And we run it like it's a game that you play on a Monday night, 6-a-side league, where one bloke says, "Oh, have you paid your match fee this week?" And we got into bed with IMG, and I was so happy. Yeah? A company that understands this. And they brought all these legends. We're going to come together. We're not doing anything straight away. We're going to take our time. We're going to adapt. And the next thing you know, they put together this thing. This is how we think it should be run. This grading system. Because remember, the whole idea of this grading system was to get 25 clubs, 30 clubs, 40 clubs, grade A, doing the right things off the field with a little bit of on-field input. Get 40 clubs, and that by that time, when you get all the grade A clubs, what you'll see is then the league promotion relegation jumping from one to the other.
It's so strange.
And because they didn't like it, because people didn't like it, didn't put them where they wanted to be,
we've fallen out of love with it already.
Well, it's very strange as well, because a lot of people, I think it's almost, again, Radlinski spoke about this, and I don't want to keep going on about it again. Please, if you're listening to this, go and listen to that go watch that 30-minute clip on YouTube. I don't know if you can get the podcast on whatever you're listening to this podcast on, but have a search for it. Back 10 podcast, it's called, by All Out Rugby League. And he actually said on it, Radlinski said, the thing is with IMG is that actually a lot of the stuff we want them to do, they're kind of saying, it's almost like they're saying, you've not asked us to do that. They were brought in to help all the clubs go like digital, and they were brought in so a lot of the things that they've been brought in to help this Super League with that the AFL wanted them to do. So people are almost kind of saying like to IMG, oh, you've not done this, you've not done that, and their kind of response is, we weren't asked to do that. We've been brought in with help and support doing this. So
IMG will have a contract with Super League or the clubs, I don't know who it is
yeah,
with.
I don't know who's running it.
That says, this is what we're paying you X amount of money to do X, Y, and Z. They then can't go and do 8 million other things.
Exactly. That's just what I mean. So
I've genuinely been thinking about this, that we should put a thing out on Twitter. What are your issues with the game?
Yeah.
How can you make this game better? And I would love to see what the top 10 things are.
Well, one of the issues, I don't know if it'd be in the top 10, but one of the issues people aren't happy with is loop fixtures, which this is trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
So, I know. And then it did get Brian Kenny's point where we said, like, well, we've had him for ages. Well, that doesn't mean you should just keep on having him for bad. Well, there is, change it now. If you know it's bad, it's been bad for 20 years, then change it, like, which they're trying to do.
We also haven't had it for years.
But you also...
We had it and then got rid of it, and then we brought the middle eights in. And we tried all these different things, and none of them have worked.
Do you think sometimes, and no need to get off this point, do you think sometimes we're too quick to change things rather than sticking with something and building something? Do you know what I mean? It's almost like we did the Super, it's it doesn't work, revert back, and it was like, right, it's going to be top 6. No, it's not, it's going to be top 8. No, it's not, we're going to do this, and then we're going to... Well, there's been a lot of stuff.
Let's just be clear, right?
Can we pick one thing and build it and invest in it? And like you're saying, the clubs, like, pick them, give them 3 years, invest in them and build them. You don't need to do the same thing with the league, the structure, how it works, the playoff system, like...
The clubs over here wanted loop fixtures so that they would have 13 home games. They didn't want 11, they wanted 13.
To charge more for season tickets, essentially.
Charge more for season tickets. 13 was the number they wanted.
Yeah.
There is no other sport that I'm aware of that you don't play the same teams the same amount of time other than rugby league.
Yeah.
And the NRL don't play everyone the same amount of times. And that gets criticised. Their hope is to get 20 clubs and have 2 divisions.
Yeah.
Not 2 divisions, sorry. A Sydney conference and a rest of conference.
Yeah,
basically.
a bit like NFL stuff.
Yeah.
Different conferences.
And then the top four go to play top 8s
Yeah.
at the end to win who wins the Premiership. We've got 14 teams now. Let's say we go to 14. Stick with 14. Top 8, do your playoffs. Follow the same system as the NRL, where top 4 play each other and loser gets an extra chance. Yeah, it makes bonus for having top 4 and benefit to be in the top 4. Benefit of finishing 1st and 2nd, benefit of finishing 5th and 6th. Do it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Do it for 10 years. And let's see where we're at in 10 years' time. I remember we had the middle 8s, top 5, top 6, top 8, top 4. And we've had a 4. Just stick with it.
It's very... One last thing I'll just say as well on this Radlinski kind of... One thing you mentioned, because there's a talk that if we basically get rid of loop fixtures, that Magic will go on. Magic's coming into question. We could spend another 20 minutes talking about Magic Weekend. Would you keep it or would you not? Radlinski's opinion on it, which I thought was very good, was he said, the thing is with Magic, he said, is it actually that magic, or do we just take 3 games and play them? Like, what's special about it? You need to make it. So, and he just suggested even, and it was only kind of very off-the-cuff examples, but just, an orange ball or something. And I thought, you know what, he's right there, because when you think, and I'm not just talking about the orange ball, World Club Challenge against Penrith, what did everybody remember from that game? You know what I'm going at? What did everybody remember from that game?
The lighting up.
The goalposts. And it's a little thing. Everyone went, I love those goalposts. So when people are going, what's an orange ball going to do? Like, no, it is. It's something you remember. They play with the back to goal. They had a post that flash up, red or green if they kick the goal, if they miss it. Like, and you can just tell those little tweaks is just what adds a little bit.
We're letting Magic die. And over in the NRL, this year, the team that didn't get to play in the Magic was Newcastle Knights. And there was talks that they were going to sue the NRL.
Because they wanted to be involved.
Because of how much money they missed out on. Whatever. And why was it them? they've turned it into a massive thing. I don't want to go into it. The Matty John shows goes, and they have a Thursday night sit down where fans come and watch the show live in the middle of the stadium. And Suncorp is filled every week, every game. And we're going to let it die.
It does feel like we just take teams and just go, right, first, it's almost like a bit like, almost, when I used to play with Lee as a kid at amateur game, you used to go to these festivals. And you'd go and you'd do 10 minutes, you know, Hindley versus Thatoif. And then the next game would play Jude's versus Pats and Cuthbert's versus Blackbrook. And then Hindley might be on again and you might play Jude's this time or whatever. It used to have like pictures. Like, it feels like we're almost doing a professional with them. It's like 3 clubs go one day. It's just like, right, you play, right, you don't get off 50 minutes, right, next team on site. But where is the magic? And that's what I think he was trying to say. Like, what is actually magic about it? Is there anything magic about it? Or is it just literally...
Look what the NRL do. They take the opening round. They take the opening round and everyone plays.
Yeah.
And
someone made a point on this in this podcast again, the journalist, I forget his name now, and he said, like, actually, Sky love it. They give most of that weekend's coverage. It's like the only time I think that it's on like Sky Main Event and not on Action or Sky Sports Plus, where it's like, and they big it up. It's the magic weekend. Catch 3 games of rugby, like, you know, or 6 games of rugby across 2 days, and it's a big thing that they big up on their adverts. And it's just like we don't do anything with it.
We had it so good. Remember the Etihad? I remember the free tickets they were giving away to local schools in Manchester.
Yeah,
went to Newcastle. Why not say, listen? Week before Magic, Newcastle fans, you have a season ticket to go and watch Newcastle, you can get a free ticket. And go and bring 10,000 Geordies in.
Yeah.
And let them watch it for free.
Yeah.
You pick 10 fans up. Worth it. Like, pack the stadium out. Do whatever you can.
I agree. It's going back to the same thing we just said again. It needs to be built and designed and backed and invested in, doesn't it? That's the thing we keep coming back to here.
I told you we should have had a break before this.
Yeah, well, again, we've been going for 47 minutes here, so we now need to probably end the news section and move on. But reach out on Twitter, let us know what you think. Yeah. Are you a favour of 14 teams? What teams would you like to see out of those 14? Is Salford in or out for you? Does it depend on financial?
I'm going to ask this. If you're going to comment on that and you say, we think we should have... Why do you think that club?
Yeah.
Yeah? Don't just tell me that you think York should be in it. I think York should be in it. I think the building, I think they've done the right steps. I think it's a growing market. Yeah? I might be proven wrong. Yeah? But give us some reasons why you think it. Yeah? Right, we'll take a break and we'll come back and go around the grounds. Thank you for joining us after the break. Now, Lewis, this was a bit of a weird round of Super League. Split over 2 weekends, meaning that each team basically got a week off. So there was 3 games in the weekend that Wigan played, and 3 the weekend after when Wigan got a week off. But what do you make of that? Because I think it's something I could get behind, you know.
I quite like it, to be fair. I think... obviously, Rugby League's a very intense game, and especially if you get a good cup running, it is a lot of games week on week on week on week to be playing, because obviously we don't really have very rare do we have a kind of mid-season international fixture where some players get a week off, so I actually think of splitting it up like this, where you still have rugby on, it's not just nobody plays, but it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 games, and then the week after Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 games.
Well, that was the reason. That was the reason that they brought the split round in this time. Was that there was no international against France. Normally, we do have one. I look at the NRL, and there is a team that has a bye every week.
Yeah, exactly.
During the Origin period, game 1 and 2, only half the teams playing week 1 and half the teams playing State of Origin game 2.
Yeah.
So actually, they're setting the teams up to be fitter for longer and have weeks off. And I was actually thinking about this before we came to do the podcast, and I was just thinking, I really wouldn't mind doing this at round 10 and round 20.
Yeah, look, if they're serious about player welfare, which they seem to be, because that's the big thing that's, being mentioned buzzword at the minute being mentioned on a weekly basis, then this shows actually are serious about player welfare. They're going to say, you know what, you're not going to play for whatever it is, how many games you end up playing in a regular season, 20, 7, is it?
Well, it's 27 and potentially 4 cup rounds if you got through the last 16 quarters, semis, finals.
So that could be 30.
31.
31.
Plus the playoffs.
So that's what I mean. You can get up to 35 games. Like 35 games week after week after week after week. If your season's about to play a welfare, the way you kind of minimise injuries, fatigue, and whatever comes with that really is.
I do understand the argument of you've got to manage your squad. That's the point of having a squad that you can rotate and rest. But I don't see there's any reason against having a split round 10, a split round 20, and then you're into the playoffs then.
It's very hard as well to ensure player welfare by just kind of hoping that teams will use the squads effectively.
Yeah.
A couple of injuries and a young lad has to go and play more games than he should be playing.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So if you're really serious about actually let's take a holistic structural approach to player welfare, scheduling weeks off or split weeks like this so every team gets a week off is the right way, I think, to do it.
Yeah, I actually think that might be a solution there. One in round 10, one in round 20. Makes your season a week longer.
Yeah.
But not much to...
I like they've done it, but still kept rugby on.
Yeah.
They've not just said, right, this is where we should have played France, everyone just gets a week off. The fact that we actually do have rugby on to watch, it's just limited games rather than everybody playing, but we still have rugby across both weekends, I think is definitely the way forward.
Like, the only issue I had was on the last Friday, so Friday the 1st of August, there was 2 games on at the same time.
Yeah.
Play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
But, you know what? I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
Should we start off on Thursday's game then?
Yes, this is Thursday, what was it? What would this have been? Thursday the 24th of July, was it? Yeah.
A while ago. Feels like a long time ago.
We're going almost. We're kind of classifying these 2 weeks as... Because it's the same round, isn't it? Yeah.
So,
split over 2 weeks.
Wakefield hosted Leeds.
They did.
Leeds doing pretty well in the league and was in hot pursuit of Lee in third. Wake, we've discussed it time and time again over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Wakefield, Hull FC and Warrington in the hunt for the 6th spot. Actually, Wake get 2 points against Leeds. 16 points to 14.
We said Wakefield had quite the favourable running.
Yeah.
For this whole top 6 fight we've mentioned over the last couple of episodes. Still got to play Salford twice. This isn't one that you necessarily... I mean, you thought you could win it. It was, what was it, have been 4th or 5th versus 6th. So there's not a lot of, very, very joined together, close in the league table. So it could have gone either way, but a lot of people might have saw this one as possibly one that could get away from Wake and he'd have to win the games that they probably ought to be winning instead of this one. So I don't want to say a steal. I think that's
it'd be a bit harsh to say a steal, but you've got to remember this Leeds side had beat Saints, they'd beat us.
It's a big scalp. It's a big scalp to take, isn't it? To beat Leeds on your way to this fight to the top 6. If you're beating Leeds, then fair play. If you beat the top 6, you deserve to. If you're taking Leeds' scalp along the way, so
Leeds, they're gonna have to just get over this.
Lost by a point, didn't they?
Saying we're recording on Thursday. They've got a game today against Lee, so that's going to be really interesting to see what goes on there.
Should be a good game, this.
And they're going to have to get back on the horse straight away. Lee had the week off and they played last week, so they've got a bit of momentum. Leeds have had a week off, so it affects teams differently, doesn't it, the week off?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Wigan played on the Friday. We've already talked about that game, but on the Saturday, Hull FC hosted Huddersfield. Well, what a result, really. Huddersfield winning 30 points to 14. Flanagan all over everything. He's looking really, really good.
Good player. Good player.
This is a bad...
Hull FC booed by their own fans at the end of this one, and I can almost, not that I condone that kind of stuff, you stick behind your team through thick and thin, but I can understand the frustration. Definitely they just come off beating us away at the break and then go home to Huddersfield where they're thinking, right, here we go, time to build some momentum. This should be a game where we should be winning our race for the top 6, and quite a convincing scoreline against them.
There's 2 points to this.
Very strange.
Trinity had won 2 days before to go overtake them and get into 6th. You got a week off next week. You have to win. Go into the week off in 6th. Don't lose before that week off lose the top 6, lose the momentum, and in one of the games that we see you should be winning, and you have to win if you want a place in the playoffs.
30 points to 14 as well. That's a convincing win.
Yeah,
Conceding 30 points at home after you've just come off you're in a good run of form. This is...
The winger scored a hat-trick, so they were 2 conversions away. So what was that? 30 points to 18? You're 2 unconverted tries away from being from drawing. Really? That's a long way, that. At home. It's to a Huddersfield team that's struggling to get points.
This is it. It's... Yeah, it's strange. You know teams to struggle going away from home, but to be struggling at home, in front of your own fans and the crowds on your side, why would you... Strange, isn't it?
Well, the record at home's poor. It was nearly a year, wasn't it? They beat Wakefield a few weeks back to end a year.
And even that was a shaky win. Don't get me wrong, a win's a win. But
do you think it's a little bit of the yips? Do you think there's something about being at home?
I think it's got to be now. I don't know what else would explain it. I think they're under the positive that much pressure to win at home in front of their own fans, and as soon as the first knock-on happens, it's, oh no, not again. And then suddenly it's in the Reds, or the first try gets conceded against them, and oh no, here we go again. And the Reds fall down and they can't pick themselves back up. It must be. I don't know what else can explain it.
Yeah. Right, we're going to jump over to the week after.
Yes.
Thursday the 31st of July. Hull KR put 74 points on against Salford, win 74-12. Again, there is not much we can say about this. The news at Salford just gets worse and worse and worse. In the last hour, we've been reading things that they owe so much money to the coach company.
Apparently, they're due to travel to... Who've they got this week?
They've got Hull FC.
So they're due to travel to Hull, and the coach company have refused. I don't know if this has been confirmed again, but the coach company has refused to take them because they owe a bill that they've not paid yet. So the coach company's saying, sorry, we're not doing it. You've got outstanding debt. You've not paid for other journeys.
Alongside that, I want to say, obviously, the kit man left a month ago. The kit is being held hostage at the laundromats. They got rid of the kit man. Obviously, he wasn't getting paid on time. He's left for another job. Can't blame him. But they've not paid the laundromats, so they can't get the kit. And this has led to news that we probably should have been in the news, but it broke after. Looks like Ryan Brealey has left to go to Oldham. Obviously, we mentioned the Chris Hankinson sale, and there's a few more on the way out. And this is just to cover bills so they can get a team out. Like, this is ridiculous.
This is meant to be a professional sports organisation in the top league of our competition.
I know the talk has been IMG, that they got a grade A. No one knew the finances until Salford, 6 months ago, came asking for the Sky money early. So you can't blame anyone at the RFL.
Well, the people to blame is whoever was in charge at Salford. They've spent money they haven't got. Yeah. And that's the situation they find themselves in. Maybe people be asking questions, but hold on a minute, if they are only getting, a man and his dog turning up to games, their attendance has been criticised by multiple people within rugby time after time. Hold on, where's this money coming from to sign stars like Mark Sneed and Callum Watkins and Nene McDonald and all these, like, where are you getting all this money from?
I don't want to sound,
but you can't blame the RFL for that. At Salford, you've gone spending money you didn't have and not balanced the books properly, and this is what you get at the end of it.
I don't want to sound like I'm being overcritical, but I try and live my life pretty simple. If you have £1 million coming in, you can't spend more than that.
Exactly.
And it looks like they have been. And unfortunately, it's led to the situation that we're in now.
It's a very, very sorry state of affairs, and I don't know where we're up to with buyers and financial backing in Salford or whatever, but if this does not get resolved, I cannot see them being a Super League team next season. If this 14 team, we talked about it a lot of time in the news, so I don't want to go back on it, but I don't see how can you be a professional sporting team in the top league of our sport when you can't even pay for get your kit washed.
I'm going to say something. It's getting to the point where I think they might not finish the season.
Yeah, possibly.
I can't see how they do. Just can't see it. Right, I want to talk more rugby.
Go on.
Friday the 1st of August, 2 games. We're going to start off at St Helens. They hosted Castleford. They win 40 points to 0. Saints shot a little bit more with the ball than they have done in previous. But Castleford.
Can we take much away from this, with it being a very... Don't get me wrong, no they're hit and miss at the minute, Cass, ever since they sacked Maguire. They're kind of having a good performance at 1 minute and then getting nailed the next. They're away at Saints.
I don't want to be funny. For St Helens, you can't really say anything for this game.
No.
Because they beat Salford by 74 points at the start of the season. Everyone told me Tristan Saylor was going to win Man of Steel because he scored 5 tries. Right? And then they butchered someone else at home. I think Huddersfield. And then 5 weeks later, it was all doom and gloom. That when they get on a roll with that pack, it's still a big pack. It's aging, but it's still a big pack. And if they can get the front foot, they can just roll weaker teams down the field and spend time in good ball areas.
Saints have got Wakefield this week. And I think that's going to be... We're going to learn a lot about Saints, I think. Because Wakefield are going to come into that knowing that a win there, knowing they've got Salford twice, potentially cements their top 6 spot.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to learn a lot about both teams, Saints and Wakefield, when we watch them this week and where they're at. Saints have claimed Leeds. Yeah, when is this? Tomorrow's game. So Saints have claimed Leeds' scalp along the way. But again, haven't beaten OKR or Wigan. Don't think they've beat a Leeds this season.
Don't think they beat Warrington.
They're not beat Warrington this season. So this is the thing with Saints, isn't it? They're winning the games. You could say they should be winning, but when they're coming up against those big matches,
the teams that
they can't get over
the teams that you want to be at 50-60%. If you're going to win a comp, you have to win 60% of them games.
Yeah,
and then win the ones that matter.
Yes,
they're just not winning them. But actually, this is going to turn into a thing here. We're Wakey. I'm just trying to have a look at the table here. Sorry. If Wakey beat Saints, and depends on Leeds' result today against Lee, Wakey will be 2 points behind 4th spot, playing Salford twice. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with Salford if they even make the season end and how they come to the conclusion of that season. But this is ridiculously good for Wake. They could finish in the top 4. Lee did this their first season they came in. We're around the 6th and then back end of the season snuck into 4.
And this is again going back to this conversation. I don't want to go around and we spent about 50 minutes in that news segment, so I don't want to keep going back to it. But if we can have teams like this, Wakefield and Leo, they have done, come into the Super League and add to the Super League as a brand and the argument and what it is and the competitive matches and put together a good squad with investment like Beaumont's done, like I forget the name of the Wakefield owner. Matt Ellis, like Matt Ellis has done. I'm all for it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Can you imagine having 2 more Leeds or Wakefields like Wakefield this season or Lee? Or they've been for the last 3 years, like added to the, and we've got 14 teams like that.
It'd be brilliant. It would be perfect.
And without trying to sound nasty, because I don't want to see this, I hope they do get the financial backing. But if you're asking me, what would you rather have, Salford or swap it in for another calibre like Wakefield this season? There's only one option.
Oh, there's only one option. Yeah. Let's finish off this last game, also on Friday. Lee hosted Warrington. Warrington were winning this game. I just want to check exactly. 16-2.
Yeah.
Yeah. They managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Lose 20 points to 16. This is worrying for Warrington. Because last year they were talking, Sam Burgess has fixed the culture. They've got the best defence in Super League. If they can just get a little bit more strike, they're going to be up there. They've not improved that strike. They don't score enough points still. And I think that's very heavily dependent on George Williams. So dependent on George Williams getting the points for Warrington. But the defence isn't winning them games like it did last season.
I agree, and it's strange this one, isn't it? Like, how'd you go from, like you say, best defence last season to not even making the top 6 this season when...
I don't want to be funny. Do you not feel like it feels like Huddersfield under Warrington. Huddersfield under Watson, not under Warrington.
Do you know what?
Where they were building and they were building and they were building, and they lost the Challenge Cup final to us. Same to Warrington.
And they never recovered.
And then they couldn't get that next step. Where Hull KR, vice versa, have lost that Challenge Cup against Lee and gone a step further and gone and won something.
I keep mentioning the Back 10 podcast and All Out Rugby this episode. I keep plugging them quite a bit. We talked about Radlinski being on this week. The week before, Kevin Brown was the guest, and he got asked about this because there's on about the race for the top 6, and Kevin Brown backed Wakefield to finish in the top 6. And he said, not Warrington. And he said, I think he questioned their attitude. And he said, I think the Burgess effect has worn off. He said, I think the defence is an attitude. Defence is the problem they've got at the minute. They can't defend their own goal line. They're not working hard for each other. And he questioned again attitude, culture a bit.
You know when you say it's an attitude thing, I think it's not an attitude. It's a way of being, a way of living your life. Are you gonna keep showing up? And don't get me wrong, Burgess, we know that he's an inspirational leader and all the things that he's done. But if he's tried to do it off his words and his actions, can't keep doing that for year on year on year. It almost loses its effect. You've got to instill it as a way of living. Do you do it every single time you turn up to training? Do you do it every single day that you walk into the shops, you turn up on time? When you go to... I'm taking it to the nth degree here, but culture isn't just through words and follow me, I did this, so you've got to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he's got that balance right. Are they a little bit flat?
I think, personally, they're light in the pack. And I think the last couple of weeks signing Matteson showed it on a loan. I know you said they did it with Aitman last season, which I do get. They've obviously signed the new, I know I'll probably mentioned in the news segment, coming in next year. I think backs, they're good. I know Matty Ashton, I think he's been injured into this season a fair bit. He's been in the team. But, you look at Williams, obviously England captain, one of the best players in the comp. You look at, obviously Matt Duffy. Yes, we've talked about he has his defensive issues, but in attack, obviously, you can create points, get a try, assist, or score a try. Toby King, we know he's a good sense from his time at Wigan. I'm looking at the squad, and obviously the way that they put it on the website, they don't actually name a loose forward as such. Yeah.
But the prop forwards are James Harrison, Paul Vaughan. Two very decent props on the day. Luke Yates has been playing as prop. Yeah. He's been labelled as the 13 all season. Shirt number 13, he's going to play loose forward. He's not, he's played prop. Joe Philbin, Geordie Crowther, Max Wood. The last two I've named are still very, very young. Lucas Green, Luke Thomas, with the squad numbers 25 and 27. They are young lads for props. You go to the back row, Ben Curry and Lockie Fitzgibbon. But after that, you're going into Adam Holroyd, Tom Whitehead, two young lads. They've then brought in, we know they had Dan Russell that they sent to Salford, and Sam Stone's come to them, and they've signed Ryan Matteson. But it's a thin squad.
Through the middle.
You think that 13 would stand up to anyone, wouldn't you?
Mm.
But I look at the squad numbers 18 to 25, and I wonder how many of them would be competitive elsewhere. I look at the amount of centres they've got. They've got a lot of backs.
Yeah.
Is there too much money there? Have they needed that? I don't know. I don't know the cap constraints that Warrington are under. But I don't know. I just feel like they need two really big bodies.
Yeah, possibly.
Two 50, 60-minute players.
I think so. I think there's a couple of things. I think it could be like you're saying. Attitude, culture, doing it week in, week out. I think playing personnel. I think especially in the middle, they're a bit short. Yeah,
and you. Sorry, I'm just thinking you've got to give them a little bit of credit because they did lose George Williams and Sneed for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah,
that's tough.
It is. Yeah.
They did get to the Challenge Cup final and lose, and that's an emotional drain getting there and not winning. So there are difficulties that they've gone through, but I also don't think they've dealt with them quite well enough.
No, I'd agree with that.
It's a difficult one.
It is. It's like I say, I keep using the word strange, but I think it is. It's you expected Warrington to build on, and be strong again. A bit like you said, a bit like it does. To answer your question from before that, I kind of blanked. Yeah, it does remind you a bit of like Watson's Huddersfield, doesn't it? You expected them to kick on after the Challenge Cup final and be competitive, and they just went missing.
The next level, and they didn't quite.
They just gone missing, unfortunately. It's a shame because I want Burgess to do well. You know what I mean? For what he's done for the game, for what he's done for representing England. I do. I want him to. Well, unfortunately, it's not.
It's not working.
Not this season. I'm not writing him off yet.
Listen, I think Warrington will be a really interesting one to see what they do in this off-season.
Well, they've got a couple of exciting kids coming through as well. They've got that Lindop. They've got Leon Hayes at 7.5 back.
That Kai Taylor-Ray looks like a real
Taylor
good player.
Ray. So they've got a couple of exciting kids coming through. But again, it's like we talked about before. Are they going to stick with them and bring them through and actually take time to develop these players and have a long-term plan? Or is it rush to NRL, sign a 30-year-old who's played only 80 games and hope he's going to solve problems? Time will tell.
Yeah, definitely. Right, Lewis, thank you for coming on.
Always a pleasure, mate. It's
Yeah.
been, like I said, it's been strange. It's been me and you. No, Matty.
No, we'll. I'm certain they'll have a listen and tell us where we went wrong and what we got wrong. But it's been really good, and hopefully this week's results go the way that we need. And
Got a cracking game tonight. Lee and Leeds.
be really good the game. That
Should
really
be a
good
very
game.
Good game, very tasty.
Hope you enjoyed listening, and we'll see you next week.